Last week at Tokyo Game Show, Mikame from Inside Games Japan, a Japanese gaming journalism website, had an interview with the CEO of Level 5, Hino Akihiro. This interview was about Professor Layton, World of Steam, and had some interesting points that I wanted to discuss with everybody. Disclaimer, I don't understand Japanese, so I've ran this article through a few different translators to try and get a semi-accurate result. There seemed to be a lot of consistency, so this isn't exactly direct translation because I'm just using online translators, but it gives us a pretty clear picture. I just wouldn't take things word for word as what they're said, but just the general idea of what's being said instead. The first question the interviewer asks is about how they decided to make a new Layton game, and Hino replies that there was somebody else in the games industry who was talking to him and was saying they really wanted a sequel to be made, and they figured, you know what, a lot of people are asking for this, maybe we should do it. One of the most interesting points I saw in the article was them talking about the fact that this game is going to be on Switch rather than on Nintendo 3DS, obviously not supporting stylus control. Switch has a touchscreen, but it seems from Hino's answer, they primarily want people to play this game docked and from a TV. He discussed the fact that they obviously made Catriel's a port to Switch and that they've had this experience already before, and so they refined it for World of Steam. The demo at Tokyo Game Show, for example, was completely in docked TV mode where people answer the puzzles. For me personally, I think this is interesting because so many puzzles consist of having to tap and move things around. Obviously you can do that with the buttons. It just feels clunkier though for some reason in my mind. Like I just want to tap and drag, you know, this point to this point, or move if I'm doing one of the puzzles that's like moving pieces onto the board or sliding cars to, for example, to get them out of the car park and whatever. It feels so much easier in my mind to use a stylus than to sit there and, you know, use the button. He makes clear in this interview they want people to play it on the TV because of the improved picture quality, and that they've taken the time to make it work with the controller. The interviewer explains that they found the demo pretty difficult, especially seeing as we saw in the video the demo only had a 10-minute timer on it, so people were having a hard time. And this is where Hino clarified that that's why they made sure that you could use the hint coins to solve the puzzle quickly, so that you could see as much as you possibly could during your 10-minute window. The interviewer asks about the fact that this is the first game in 11 years where Layton is the protagonist, and if anything's changed or, you know, what's going on. Obviously this isn't a direct translation, but from the translation I've received, Hino's response is, we're not really thinking about the trend of the times. The main point of development is to adjust just the stylus operation to the Switch. Seems like they were mostly focused on the technical side of things. Explaining also about the UI and how they didn't want that to spoil the picture mode, because obviously we're playing on only one screen now rather than two. After discussing the fact that they're not trying to keep up so much with the trends of the times, the interviewer asks Hino about the 3D change in Layton. The response that Hino gives is actually pretty interesting. Hino says that he's not too fond of 3D for Layton, but he says in his answer he wanted to make it 3D to give it more of a, the translation it's given me is powerful presence. I'm not sure if that's exactly what he's trying to say, but clearly they wanted it to be stylish, they wanted it to be up to date. And he says that they explored having Layton be able to walk around in the environments, which I think would have been a wild change. Obviously they didn't go with it and they went for the traditional Layton-esque of, you know, exploring by clicking. I think that would have been so... It wouldn't have felt like Layton. It really wouldn't have felt like Layton if you could walk around in the game. I don't think what he's saying is he doesn't like the art style of the game. I think what he's saying when he says he doesn't like the 3D is that he doesn't enjoy the idea that they were going down where you could walk around in sort of a third-person perspective in the 3D world. I think that's what he's saying here. I don't think he's saying he doesn't like the art style of the new game they're making. They talk about Quizknock in this interview too. Hino explains that they're really fast-paced and that they have a great variety of puzzles that they've come up with. But he says the puzzles that will be incorporated are almost complete, so they're not done yet. I have such a looming feeling that we're going to get a further delay, honestly. I don't think they are that far into development. I don't know, I shouldn't be stressed, but I feel like there's a lot of work to go. The interviewer then asks about lore and about Luke in the game and like what's happening there. Obviously he can't go into too much detail, but it's clear that Luke has grown up quite a lot. He says that Luke is ready to solve puzzles on his own and he doesn't need Layton's help, but he wants it anyway. He also says Layton hasn't really changed that much, but since Lost Future, where we saw the scene of him taking off his hat, it's possible he might take off his hat in this game too, which makes me wonder, are we gonna get a really sad scene, or Is he just taking it off willy-nilly now? He's like, I quite like the bruise. The interviewer asks Hino what he would like people to look forward to. Hino explains he wants to make something that is like true to the Layton franchise. He says that the story is larger than before, which I think is interesting. They've gone really heavy into the narrative, I guess. And he says people who liked the series will be able to return to the world of Layton once again with a world view and picture quality that has expanded many times over. That's obviously my semi-inaccurate translation, but very interesting. From the trailer and the demo, we saw that this game has the most puzzles so far, so that goes hand in hand, I guess, with the fact that he's saying that the story is larger as well. He ends the interview by saying that progress is going smoothly and that they aim for a 2025 release. I think we're probably gonna hit like a February 2026, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. It's been so long since we've had any information that literally every little thing they're nuggets of gold to me. They're nuggets of gold and I love it. I'm going to include links to the article so you guys can check it down below. I've also put pictures on the screen throughout the video, but I appreciate you all and I'll see you next time. Bye!